Hi everybody, welcome to another little coffee and chat with Jo. How are you all doing? It's been a bit hectic here. Sorry I've not been with you for a while. Life's just gone a bit mad, but I'll explain that in a while. We'll have a chat and a catch up. But what I thought we'd do today is we're going to make a tag. Now often ladies message me and say they've lost the mojo, especially when times are difficult, when times are stressful. And so quite often I suggest making a tag. With it being a smaller piece of artwork, it's often less intimidating and you don't feel as though you've almost going to muck it up. You know, if it's a huge piece of work, I think we put ourselves under pressure. Now, one question I do get asked is, what am I going to do with the tag? So there's the obvious thing of use it as a tag, pop it on a present. I am one of those silly sorts of people. I love getting little gifts for people, be it a bunch of flowers out of the garden, be it a packet of sweets from the shop. I mean, I've just been to the post office again and I go just about every day. I've been posting some magazine samples off today. And I know often on a Friday, we've got bank holiday here on Monday. It can be hectic and the queue was enormous. So I bought a fresh cream cake on my way and I gave it to Sandra, the lady there. And bless her, she was having a hard time. There was an old gentleman trying to work out how to take his passport photograph and he was really struggling. And of course, in these days, you can't go near. And so anyway, what I'm getting round to is I like a tag to add to something like that. Maybe I don't want to actually make a card. And sometimes giving a card can be almost quite formal. So often a little tag on a gift, like I say, not an expensive gift, a nice little gift. I love picking flowers out the garden and giving them to people. My lovely neighbour across the road, Sally, she brought me some lavender the other day from hers and just left it on my doorstep. And again, it's little things like that that are lovely. So that's one thing, obviously. I mean, I would now start making a few of these ready to put on my Christmas presents and make them, obviously, along the Christmas theme. You can always glue it to a card. I mean, again, what you could do is if this was going on, say, a 5x7 card, I would just put some of the colours I've used, some little splats of ink either side, a sentiment, and that would be lovely on the front of a card. You can actually make a tag card where you would cut two cards together, attach them here, score down there, and then lift this forward and write your sentiment in there. Sorry, I've completely gone off camera there. So score there and make it so that this lifts up and you would have a tag card that would stand up. So that's another thing. Now, the other thing I get asked is if you have a die cut, there's quite a few companies. I mean, I got some, I think it's a Tim Holtz one, to cut out your dies. That's fine, you can die cut them. But if you haven't, here's a little tip of how to make your tag. Now, one thing I do find when I'm making tags, it's a little bit, I've got a spare piece of paper here to show you. When you were little, did you ever cut your own fringe? Now, I did. And I was one of those people that I cut it one way and then cut more off because the other wasn't, the one was too long. Then I'd cut more off. Anyway, it would end up tiny. And often, I'm going to show you what can go wrong when people are cutting tags. So if this is a card, they cut this side. Just move that out of the way. And then they try and even it up and cut this side. And then this side doesn't look right, so they cut this a bit more. And then that doesn't look right, so they cut this a bit more. And before you know it, you end up with something really silly, and it can end up with a tiny little piece of card. So my little tip for you is cut yourself. So I've just got an offcut of card here, which again is great. Use all your offcuts. I mean, make mini tags. We've got some lovely tiny stamps with Lavinia. The little wild hares would look lovely. And as I say, I'm going to be doing, I've got an online Christmas workshop soon. And so I'm starting to think Christmassy. So I'm thinking Christmas tags. So this is my offcut that I'm going to make into my tag. So my suggestion is take your scissors and go for one side. And I roughly want that there. Now hold this here. Because what you're going to do is mirror this side here. I mean, most of you will probably know this, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. But for those who don't, even if there's just one crafter who finds this useful, it's worth me doing it. So mirror that there. Make sure we're in the corner. And then cut along there. And then that way we know, if I pop it down, am I still in shot, that these two are identical. So we know that we've got a nice even tag. So like I say, cut one side, take it over and mirror it there. And then all you need to do is punch yourself a hole, and I'm just going to put mine there. And so there you go, you've created yourself a tag, and it's such an easy way to do it. So we're going to make something similar to this, and what I've done is I've just grabbed the stamps that were on my desk, and we're going to use a stencil in the background. Again, no pressure, nice and easy today. So what we'll do is we'll start by just adding some ink as a background. Now, you could use Billy Brayer. If you've got him on your desk, whiz him out. But I know some people could do the bit of practice with blending. So for me, it's a great way. I'm using this new colour, this speckled hen. Okay, speckled egg, but in my head, speckled hen. And I'm just going to lightly, it's a nice light colour. And this is a good way of practising your blending. But you know what? You don't want it blended perfectly. So it's an ideal way, as I say, to practice with no pressure. Now, mine's not going to be even because I'm not going to spend time blending, and I don't want it an even coat. I just want a basic little bit to take the whiteness off. So that's all I'm going to do. Do you love the way I say that and then carry on? And that just takes that whiteness off that card blank. And again, you know, by doing that, you'll start to get those creative juices flowing, and you'll be thinking, what can I do next? Now, some people would stencil the background next, but for me, I'm going to do my stamping, because I find if you stamp over, I'm using oxides, obviously because of the pigment issue, it won't stamp cleanly. So what we're going to do is just clean this up, and I'm going to do my stamping. And I love these glow flowers that we're going to use. These here, glow flowers by Lavinia. And I'm going to use Rory and Darcy. And I just drew this. Am I still in shot? You know me, I have a habit of wandering off. Because Rory's pointing, I've drawn a spider, because I've got to give him a reason to point, haven't I? It's got to be believable. I mean, you could stamp one of the little bunnies on the top as though he's looking, you know, what are you doing up there, Mr. Bunny? So I'm just going to get my, as you know, my copy of paper and my magazine. And we'll stamp the larger glower. The glow flowers come in a set of 2. And again, here they are, look. Again, if you're not sure where to pop them, use your acetate. So while I'm stamping, I'll tell you a little bit about my week. So I've got 2 boys. My husband and I have got 2 boys, Adam 31 and Mikey 29. And Adam and Danielle, his partner, have got 2 little boys, my little grandchildren, Elliot and Jensen. So Elliot's 3 and JJ's 1.5. So last Thursday, Danielle was at work and Adam, unfortunately, was at a funeral. His best friend's dad has just passed away. Anyway, Jensen had a temperature 38.5. So obviously with COVID and everything, he has to be picked up from nursery straight away. So it was called to grandma, what are you doing? He needs picking up within 10 minutes. So I got there and Elliot, who's at nursery as well, and they only go 2 days a week. He was in the room, they were quarantined, it was all masks and gowns, and it was let this lady through, she's coming to pick sick children up, and oh, honestly, anyway, so I brought them back, and obviously nurseries aren't allowed to give them Calpol now, so luckily I have Calpol in. Anyway, cut a long story short, Jensen was quite poorly, and again, you can't go straight to the doctors, can you? It's quite good talking while you're stamping, because obviously I'm giving my stamp time to, excuse me, just rest on there. Oh, look at that. I mean, that in itself would just be beautiful, wouldn't it? Stamp maybe one of the bunnies there, or just some background words. I think that would make a tag in itself, to be honest. But I'm going to add the other glow flower. Anyway, so we managed to get an appointment at the doctor's after a lot of struggling. Anyway, they saw him and his heart rate was far too quick, as well as his temperature being high. So they said he didn't need to go to hospital straight away, just keep an eye on him. Anyway, then he developed a nice rash, which had to be photographed. Anyway, as I say, cut long story short, scarlet fever. So obviously he's been very poorly, so I've been trying to help out where I can, but as well as I had 2 magazine articles to do, I've been trying to keep up with my ladies on my group, and it is just, but everything takes twice as long. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, you know how it is where you are living. I mean, one of you lovely ladies did comment about from Australia saying you'd just gone back into partial lockdown. I mean, here we're out of lockdown, but everything. I mean, I went to get a prescription from the doctors for Jensen. Obviously, the queue was 35 minutes outside because you're not allowed in. So I queued, got the prescription. Sorry, but I do love that. So then I went to the chemist for Adam and Danielle to save them time. Again, queued another 30 minutes. Finally got to the front of the chemist, and we don't have that medication here. You're going to have to go to another chemist. So everything just takes, so long, honestly. So that's been my week. It's been full on, hectic, and but I mean, he's on the mend now, and you know, I know there are worse things, but I am shattered. I'm certainly not as young as I was, and I do get tired, but hey ho, it's what families are for, isn't it? So I'm going to stamp Rory and Darcy now. I hope I've left enough room while I've been talking. But, you know, I assume you ladies and gents do the same. I must admit, Abs phoned me up on, I think it was Thursday, and said, would I go on telly and do a one-day special next week, 2 days down at Hochanda? And I had to say no, because unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, family has to come first. And I explained with Jensen being so poorly, you know, I just need the time to be here, A, to catch up on what I haven't done this week, but also, you know, I have to help out, and that's just the way it is, I'm afraid. And for me, my crafting is, it's lovely and it's a hobby, but I am a grandma and I am a mum and a wife. And yeah, family for me is the most important thing ever. And it has to come first, especially when you see some of the atrocities that are going on in the world. Family is just so important. So what I'm doing there, digressing of course, I am sorry. I'm just checking in the light that I've got plenty of ink, because Rory and Darcy are silhouette stamps. And I'm stamping them in black. Let's make sure I've got him on. Just hold him there for a few minutes. You obviously want to make sure you've got plenty of ink on. I'm just going to pop my lid on my ink pad, otherwise my elbow's going to go in that. And to cap it all, it's raining here today. So that's the other thing, when you're queuing at all these places outside, it's raining. So you get wet as well. But I do think some of you sort of, did I hear on the news that somewhere in America, is it the West Coast? Pardon me if I got it wrong, I'm not sure. I just thought I heard there was a storm that's having a dramatic effect. Right, now as you can see, I've got, look, there's a little bit there. I'll bring it close to camera. Can you see where it's not quite stamped? Where am I? Can you see? There. And if I look at my stamp, there's a mark there. So I reckon I've got maybe a bit of glitter or something on there. Now, it's not the end of the world, because that's where your Sharpie pen comes in. But like I've said before, don't scribble as though you're colouring, because that will just show up and make it look obvious. So take your pen and just add little, very light dots and let it soak in. And that way, nobody will ever know. It is the most forgiving way, just by those little dots. So remember, because you've used a VersaFine, a slow drying ink, give it a nice blot. And you can even just, I'll just pop my heat tool over it. Just to make sure it's dry, really. So then we'll do a bit of stenciling. And I'm going to use this lovely, this one's Buds. And I'm going to show you what I did. Now, I love this colour blend here, but it's quite funny how that came about. Now, what I did was, I decided I was going to use a pink, and that this was going to be sort of a pink and a blue card. And I've gone for warm lipstick. And on my original, what I did was very lightly just started brushing some pink. And again, I'm holding the stencil at the base. Just let me check you can see that. And I just started lightly, just around the whole area, brushing some on, and then I just sort of lightly almost blend around the stencil. And when I lifted it up to have a look, I really didn't like the pink at all. Just want to make it a bit more even there. So what I did was, now again, at home, this is where I need to reassure you that at home, if you did this and you looked and you thought, I don't like that, that looks like a dog's dinner, don't panic, don't throw it away, and don't think, oh, I've made a real mess of that. So what I did was I brought my faded jeans in and a smoothie, and I very lightly, with circular motions, what this is doing is I'm putting a little bit of faded jeans on, but it's picking up the pink that's actually on the stencil as well. So I'm almost cleaning my stencil. And just slowly, I'm just going to go around. And if I lift up again to show you, so you see how that's blended in. And for me, that looks so much better already. I hope you agree. And if I want a little bit more blue there. So I'm just going to blend. And I am very, very lightly just doing circular motions, as I say. And I'm going round the glow flowers. If I go on them a little bit, it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to be mindful to go around them. And I think I just want a bit more blue in this corner. Let me look at that. Yeah, I like that. And am I okay at the bottom? Just a bit more down here and down here. So if I take that off. So can you see how lovely that looks? And again, it's such a nice colour, and that's just with blending the blue in with the pink. So what I'm going to do now is actually go around the edge. So I'll just use my smoothie and just blend some blue all the way around the edge. So like I say, if you put a colour on that you don't like, remember, it's not the end of the world. Try mixing another colour with it. I mean, if you still don't like it, obviously, you know, it's only a bit of card, throw it away and do another one. But I really don't like doing that. I really, you know, try to see if I can make, yeah, so that again just frames it. So we need to ground Rory and Darcy. So let's get a piece of scrap paper and just tear. And we'll just pop that underneath. Right, that one's further back, so I'm just going to do this to start off with and see if I can get both of them on here. And again, so the colours match, I think I'm just going to bring some pink in. I'm not going to add any, I've got enough on my sponge. And then add some of the blue. And let's hold it here and look. Yeah, I like that. And I'm just going to add a little bit under this one that's further away. Yeah. So you see how that looks? And it's nice because we've got the pink there and the blue. I'm really loving these two colours. So this is worn lipstick and faded jeans. Again, totally by accident. So I'll bring the moon in. Now on my original, I've edged the moon in black because I've gone round in black. But I'm liking the way this pink and blue looks here. So let's see what happens if we do it in pink and blue. If we don't like it, doesn't matter. We'll refer to the one that we do like. So I think I'm going to put it there. So I'm thinking let's use the blue that's on my sponge. And then let's come in with a bit of the pink. Again, I'm not going to put any more pink on my... I think sometimes people over ink. You'd be amazed how much is on your smoothie and how much is on your blending tool. So we won't take that off altogether. Let's just have a peep. Yeah, I like that. I think I prefer that, to be honest. I like that colour. I think I might use these two colours again. quite like. I wouldn't have thought of using them, but I quite like that combination. Now, what colours are going to be in for Christmas, do you think? They always release, don't they? I can't remember who, but I know they always release the colours that are going to be the go-to ones this Christmas. I know obviously red and green are the, but we often have sort of contemporary colours. Are we thinking this blue and pink? I'm thinking this could be my colours for Christmas. I think contemporary. Oh, ignore that little message on Messenger. Yeah, I'm thinking I might. Yes, I think this could be the Christmas workshop, ladies. I think we could be going blue and pink. Now that blend in there is a little bit fierce. I just want to smooth that off a bit. And again, just use your smoothie. Don't add any more ink. That's better. Prefer that. So we'll do the black around the edge. She says, where did I put? Oh, it's there. Right, and where's my smoothie? There we go. So again, I'm just going to, and this is just to frame it, but also because I've done stamping in black, it's nice to have black somewhere else. And I'm not going to come in too far. I don't want it too deep. Now you could run round with your Sharpie pen and your ruler to do this, but I'm really just catching the edge with this smoothie, look. It's quite funny because by doing this, I'll probably get some ink on the back. So what I would do is just a little bit of ink and even a few splats of water and then stamp my to and from. That's the only thing when you're doing tags. If you're anything like me, the back ends up. Yeah, I like that. But this here, to me, looks a little bit bare, doesn't it? So we'll pop the lid on that. Let's just clean up that ink. Otherwise, we will end up with it all over the back of the tag. Let's try and keep it as clean as we can. So, where's my... So, fine liner pen time. And we'll just add a little bit of foliage. Just either side of that. And you see the difference that makes? I just don't like things floating, looking as though... I know we're just creating art and I know it's, you know, artistic license, but I do like things to actually look a little bit realistic. I mean, I know some of you could argue fairies, how realistic is that? But I think they're realistic. So for me, just by adding that, I like that. Right, come on, what are you thinking? Let's add some colour to the glow flowers. Now again, for this, you don't need, you could paint the colour in. If you've got any of the things like stickles, you could add some glue. Now I'm just going to use, now here I've got, now this was a very inexpensive box of watercolour pencils. I mean, I must admit I've got my Inktense pencils that I use, but this is one I would take to workshops because it's not got many in and very inexpensive. And often I find all I need is something like this. And I'm just going to go, now there's various ways of doing this. On this one here, I coloured the bottom of each flower red, the middle orange and the top yellow. Now another way of doing it, and this is much quicker, is to colour whole flowers. So again, just sort of randomly. Isn't it funny? We're not good at random when we have to do random. Now, again, if you've got any sort of gems, you could cover this in gems if you wanted. Although I think it would take a lot of gems, so I'm a bit stingy. I don't know about you, I don't like using a lot of my things like gems on cards. But also sometimes I think you don't need them. I think the Lavinia stamps are beautiful in themselves. They don't need much else. I'm going to come in with my yellow. Gel pens would be good for this as well, if you have gel pens, because they're quite obviously bright, aren't they? I wanted this quite subtle. I don't want it too bright and in your face. It's like the flowers. I think they glow enough for this without being too, but if you wanted them really to stand out and really pop, you could use paint or, like I say, gel pens. They would look beautiful. Now, I'm just actually, there's a deeper red there, and I just wonder if I just go over a few of them, almost with this brown. I think that just, just to add a bit of contrast. I mean, obviously I'm not going to do them all because, oh, look at that, could only happen on live recordings, couldn't it? That's the orange for you. Do you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm happy with that. And I shall sharpen the orange later. Don't need to do it now, do we? Don't need to see me sharpen pencils. So any pencils you've got. And again, it's just adding, your Posca pens will be lovely to just add the colour in. And again, like I say, now for me, when I look at that, it slightly looks unbalanced. If I bring the finished one in, can you see here? For me, I needed to add a little bit of something at the top, just some extra stamping. And for that, I went for this Mystic Swirl. So again, if I just get my paper. Now, on my original, I've popped it on this side, but this one, I'm a bit close here. Again, use your acetate, have a look. See, I think it would look better there. For me, the balance is that way on this one. And a little bit there. That's what I'm thinking. Now again, nice light tapping. Now I do have to watch this because, you know me, I'm a bit of a tinker at getting this edge here. So, just gonna... Quite excited about doing some Christmas tags now. Got myself thinking all Christmassy. Right, so let's have a, what should we think? Should we come in one there? Yeah, and just one at the top. So, light tapping. And just take that off. Then I'm thinking, let's just bring that, maybe a bit of second generation there. We've got a little bit of third there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. What do you think? Do you like that bit of, just finishes it off at the top? I mean, you could, again, and this is the thing of knowing when to stop. I could think I'll add some foliage at the bottom, but for me, I don't think it needs anything else there. I think I've got enough. The only little bits I probably would do is with a bit of sparkle pen, just add a bit of sparkle to the wings and these bits here. Maybe a bit down here. Bit again, she's got a bit of sparkle. You can just put a little bit of jelly roll, and we're just going round the moon there. Now what I would do is add some white Posca pen. She says, okay, where's my little white? Just to some highlight on the flowers. Now, funny story this, I have a wide nibbed Posca pen and a fine nibbed, and the fine nib is what I had my little white spots, and my fine ones run out. So, sorry, I have to shake them. So for me, what I have to do is put a little bit of Posca pen from my big pen and then pick it up with my fine. If I try to use my big, the nib's too big, and I end up with too much white, and it really does spoil it. So I just want to add a few little highlights, not too many. Again, I don't want to do the pizza thing, I don't want to overcook it. Doesn't need it on every single one. And then just get a bit of highlight. The moon's there, so we're going to have it on this side, aren't we? So just a few little, maybe just catching a bit on there. Maybe just on his... Oh, we haven't drawn the spider, have we? I bet you're shouting at me, aren't you? See, he's pointing at nothing. So, let's get rid of that. And where's my pen? So, he's pointing here. So, if I just extend that a little bit, Tracy won't mind, will she? And we'll draw the spider's web. So, they go like that, don't they? And then he's pointing there. So if we do that, some little circles, some little legs, there we go. And often if the rain catches them, you've got that bit of sparkle. So let's add to the spider's web little bit of sparkle, so it's just glinting. There we go. Yeah, so there we go. Last little thing, just for some foliage at the bottom, some flowers. We've drawn, I'm going to stick with yellow because I like to keep everything in that theme. And I'm just going to add a few dots of my Posca here. So these are some little buttercups or something just in the ground there. And again, it just helps keep that balance. I mean, you could add some up here, but again, don't go mad. We don't want to, as I say, none of them pizza cards. This is just a happy little tag we're creating. So there's our two, the one we've done today. As I say, have a go with a tag. I can't wait, really can't wait to go and get some Christmas tags done. I must say thank you to the ladies that have responded about the online workshops. It's lovely, such a good response, and a couple of ladies have done the first one. Again, remember, you can do them in your own time, watch it as many times as you like, and the second one, a couple of ladies have done the second one already, so I need to record my next one. I think we might use the gel press and some brushos for the next one. So thank you to those that have enquired. Again, just drop me an email, and I'll put my email address at the bottom of the screen, and it'd be lovely to hear from you and do a workshop with you. So I hope you enjoyed your coffee and catch up. I hope you've had a less hectic week than I've had. It's been lovely spending time with you. Honestly, it is just what I needed. I hope it's what you needed too. So take care, everybody. Love and hugs. Bye for now.